Welcome to Breakfast and BS with Vince and Friends. I'm, of course, your host, Vince, and today it's just producer Virgil.
It's just me, yes.
I don't mean that as a bad thing.
Well,
saying, it's just the two of us in an empty shop.
That's right. Yeah, John left.
Mm-hmm. We are here at Toy Addicts in La Mesa, California, the Jewel of the Hills, and Virgie, it's always a pleasure.
Yes, it is. I had a nice little break in between the first show, and we are basically, it's very, very, very kind of John to let us use the place, and that's the kind of trust I guess he has in us. But
you know what? At the same time, I see it as a credit to our character that he actually trusts us enough to be in here in this store without him, and to lock up or even volunteer his keys to us.
Right. Amen. Future job. I don't know. That'd be great.
You might have to, man. Who knows how fucking long this shit's gonna last?
I know, seriously. It's essential. We were saying this place is essential for us.
Mm-hmm. It gives us a break from our fucking shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is like we were here last time. I mean, the shelves and the display cases wasn't shit on top of it, but now it's like, oh wow, so it's going to be probably different every week.
Mm-hmm.
Coming here, so I felt bad we had to move all that stuff where we were sitting, but but yeah, whatever.
You should have been expecting this. I mean, it has a week.
I know. It's true. Anyway, cool. Anyway,
so I actually had a bit of a bad spot on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So if you listen to the episode before, you will hear my epic Pepsi rant.
Okay.
So Tuesday, the same day when all that Pepsi stuff went down the first time, I got a call from my comic shop.
Oh.
Telling me, saying, hey, we're going to be open on Wednesday and we're going to be open on Friday. This is only for long-term members. So, if you can make it on any of those days, let us know.
This is comic stuff in Eastlake?
Chula Vista.
Chula Vista, okay.
Chula Vista Shopping Center.
Okay.
So I was like, honestly, this is my small check because this is the check I pay all my bills with and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, all right, dude, I'll do my best to make it in. I was like, no, well, I didn't say I'll do my best. I said I'll make it in and clear out what I can. So I'm there. I get my file. I separate what the ones I really need, like I really want and really need right now. Like I got my 80th anniversary of Robin book. And
oh, nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Virgil has a friend that did the colors in one of the stories.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which really I'm a little bummed about. Not your friend, but because, it's the 80th anniversary of Robin, and they're celebrating Robin, but it's also the 80th anniversary of Dick Grayson. Mm-hmm. So I would have just preferred the book be about him than all these other people that have meant more or less to the character. But, it's whatever. Mm-hmm. They were supposed to do a Joker and a Catwoman one, but they're not going to have different ones. But no, let's go with the different Robins. No, that's fine. Fuck you too, DC.
Rant over?
Okay. We'll get there.
All right.
No, I got nothing against you, DC. You know I love you. Mm-hmm. You make stupid decisions sometimes, though. So, I'm on my checkout, and I was like, all right, well, I'm going to get these right now. Like, I got, $70 worth of stuff. Mm-hmm. Mind you, that $70, I was not planning on spending this week.
Right.
Just like I spent another freaking almost $80 on groceries that I was not planning on spending yesterday, Saturday. But my mom's like, if you find this stuff, get this stuff. So I did. Mm-hmm. I found it and I got it. So,
okay.
Normally when I go grocery shopping, it's about $40, $45 at the most. Mm-hmm. And this time it was freaking 80. So it was like, just blew that budget.
Buy money.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, you asked me how much money I got right now in my account. I can tell you $7.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. As I eat my burger.
Okay. Well. No. We'll discuss afterwards.
Yeah. But I was like, all right. I tell Theron, my comic book guy, for I don't know, since I was a kid. By kid, I mean teenager. Mm-hmm. I was like, all right. Well, these I'll pick up now, and these I'll get later. He's like, you might want to get these now. I was like, why? Because there's not going to be a later. I was like, huh?
Are they closing up?
Yeah.
Wow.
They're like, yeah, dude, we're closing up. We don't know when we're going to open back up. And really, we don't know if your books are going to be here. Mm-hmm. And really, like, that took me off guard. Because really, all I have are some Tom King Batmans, which are terrible. Mm-hmm. But it's just the completionist in me wants those books.
Right.
And a Power Rangers book with a special shiny cover. Mm-hmm. Which I wish I bought when I was there on hindsight, but like it was just that announcement kind of took me out of my thing.
Right. So, can you kind of explain in terms of, has this something to do with the diamond thing too, or is it just because everything is business' way? Because
despite the situation everybody is in, comic books are deemed unessential. Mm-hmm. Despite needing entertainment, enjoying life.
Right. And GameStop trying to think they're essential, but
I think GameStop's essential.
But, you can get games somewhere else. Anyway, moving on.
Anyways, moving on. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, so that had something to do with it, because, they can't keep regular store hours, because a lot of the non-essential stores are closed, and that's deemed not essential. Mm-hmm. So, they can't, so that hurts right there. And then for those that don't know, and Diamond Distribution, which is a monopoly on the comic book industry, decided we're not sending out any more product. Mm-hmm. Well, honestly, that sucks, but that makes sense because a lot of the stores are closed. How are they going to, what are they going to do? Just stockpile it? Mm-hmm. How are they going to pay for next month's if they're not fucking selling this month's?
Right.
It's not good. DC just came out with a statement finally after like 3 weeks or whatever last night, saying like they're working with other distributors and all that other stuff, and a bunch of other like good ideas to like, hey, fuck Diamond right now. Mm-hmm. We're trying to help the people. Mm-hmm. But even then, DC shut down its printers and told a lot of its artists pencils down because a lot of artists have page rates. Mm-hmm. So, you get paid by the page. So you tell an artist pencil down.
Right.
Like, hey, don't send nothing in. We're not paying for it. Mm-hmm. So I bought my Nightwing. I bought my Power Rangers. I bought my, kind of regret buying the Batgirl book. But well, what can you do?
Right.
Just because it's so fucking boring.
Batgirl is. Mm-hmm.
The writer on that just thinks it's a fucking novel.
Mm-hmm. I see.
Okay,
yeah.
Like, can't you just punch some bad guys, please?
Yeah. I do notice there's a lot of, in the writing, maybe more recently, there's a lot of extra fluff in there that doesn't need to happen. You know what I mean? And whether they're trying, I think it has a lot to do with just like, the author trying to insert themselves into the story when they shouldn't. You know what I mean? So I hear what you're saying about that.
That's how Bruce Wayne became Asian.
Really? Wow. Excellent.
So DC's trying to branch out into YA.
YA, which?
Young adult.
Okay.
Twilight shit.
Okay. Is this why we have, what's his name as Batman? Or the Batman?
Might have something to do with it unconsciously. But, they come out with like different novels like the Oracle Code and, Selena's Big, whatever the fuck, everything.
Okay.
So, DC just announced this week, too, that one of the books that come out called like Gotham High or whatever, where it's supposed to be like it's basically Archie.
Okay.
Where, the bad boy from the wrong side of the tracks, a.k.a. Jack Napier, a.k.a. the Joker.
Okay.
And Bruce Wayne, the Chinese-American billionaire.
Okay.
Who's being raised by his gay Uncle Alfred.
Keep going. So I don't spit out my water.
Who has but who's only following like one person on whatever social media thing, even though they have like 2.4 billion or million people follow him.
Okay.
All go to the same fucking high school where they're both fighting for the fighting over Catwoman.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where's the story?
That's the whole fucking story.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And the author of the book in an interview even said, like, oh, well, we decided to make Bruce a Chinese American. You know, give him like a crazy rich Asian feel because, you know, I'm part Asian, so I thought that would be great.
That's what the author said?
Yeah.
I'm just going to continue to stuff my mouth with cookies.
I see fucking actual anger in your eyes.
Keep going.
Yeah, so this is what's going to save the comic book industry, folks. A book nobody wants.
Mm-hmm. For young adults.
For young adults.
Okay. Wow.
But my nieces don't want to read that crap.
Mm-hmm.
I, as a lifelong comic book fan, don't want to read that crap.
Mm-hmm.
So who's the fuck's this book for?
Oh. Not for me.
Fucking 40-year-old housewives with too many cats? Perving out on teenagers fucking on Twilight?
That's weird. That's weird.
That's why I always fucking found fucking Twilight weird, man. Because it wasn't like a bunch of girls swooning over these fucking two goddamn kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I never hear any fucking straight guy say, oh, Bella was so fucking hot. Because she looked like a fucking plank of wood back then. And her personality hasn't changed since.
No.
You know, all these fucking 40-year-old bored housewives with too many cats and nobody telling her, hey, fucking get a goddamn job, you dipshit.
Hey, you know, there's housewives who have dogs who do the same thing to the dogs, okay?
I don't go for a rat's ass. Cats are evil and should be fucking shot with BB guns.
No.
Humanely. I'm not a monster.
Okay.
Humanely shot with BB guns.
Okay.
You know, they're the ones that were fucking up the rotation at Comic-Con.
Yep.
You know, they're the ones, like, when you were, like, looking at, like, the lines for, like, Hall H and made Hall H what it is. Mm-hmm. That was all of them. The fucking lady, the person that got killed that year for whatever, Blue Moon, Two-Foon, I don't give a rat's ass which one it was. Fucking 2 vampires, 1 cup, I don't know. That was a freaking middle-aged woman that got ran over.
Yeah. Horrible.
That wasn't a fucking teenager. That wasn't a young adult. That wasn't even a little bit older adult. That was a fucking grown-ass woman. Perving out on fucking kids.
I'm not laughing because she died. I'm just laughing because...
Anyway. Yes, you are, you cold-hearted bastard.
Yes. Anyway. All right, so... to add to that, okay, and I would like to get this conversation quickly over, Twilight, please. Anyway, but I'll have to say one of the first actual, you know, walk into movie, sit down movie I saw with my wife was the last movie of that series, and so there's a scene where, well, basically the climax at the end, all of the big characters start dying, and all I hear around me are all these gasps from all these girls going, and I'm going, yes, yes. Like, you can hear me audibly saying, yeah, yeah. And then and I don't care if you don't want to spoil it or not, I'm going to spoil it for you.
It's been over fucking 20 years.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, so what happens is it was all a vision and it all never happened. None of those people died. And so when they did that, I shouted, no! Like, in the theater. That's how much of a dick I was. I was like, seriously, I've never rolled my eyes so much in a movie. It was, Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah. So thank you, comic book industry, for destroying my beloved comic shop. Mm-hmm. A place I've known and loved my entire life. Mm-hmm. Maybe not in the form that it is today, but it's always been around in one form or another. Back when it was Comic Castle on 3rd Avenue in Chula Vista. Mm-hmm. And then when it moved from there to the Chula Vista Shopping Center. Mm-hmm. And then...
Was it ever called Comic Castle at the Chula Vista Center?
Nope.
It was Comics and Stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was Comic Castle, but then they changed the name to Comics and Stuff. But since they already had the sign up for Comic Castle, they just kept the name Comic Castle.
Right. So Comic Castle, it was a staple in Chula Vista, San Diego, right?
Yeah.
So
Chula Vista, and then Mission Valley Mall. I remember they had a great one. I think it's like the post office.
There was a national, one in National City, and then there was another one in Rosecrans by the stadium that was two levels. So you, and it was cool because I think that place either used to be a record store or something, but it was nice. I remember, but having read the news about Diamond stopping, and I kind of I felt bad for the stores, but I also did not feel bad for Diamond because Diamond is, quite literally the evil of the comic book industry. If you have a main villain, you might as well just name them Diamond. But
just ask our buddy John from Toy Addicts here in Nice.
Yeah, he'll tell you a story. That's why we wanted to, But for me, and I was there when all that happened, when Diamond started taking over, and and there was another coworker of mine.
Well, you were in the industry at the time.
I was in the industry, and I think I want to say DC was trying to buy Capital, and so they wanted to be a direct competition to Diamond, but then that didn't work out, and then Diamond bought out Capital. So anyway, in terms of the comic book industry now, very different in the sense that you take all these original IPs of your main characters and stuff, and they just, it's kind of weird because I tried to compare everything to the wrestling industry, right? You can't keep creating a Hulk Hogan. You can't keep creating a Stone Cold or whatever. They've tried, and people know what you're trying to do.
And that's how you get a John Cena and a Roman Reigns.
Exactly. So this is why you're trying to, and I even see, in a smaller sense, Hangman Page is starting to turn Stone Cold. But
that's more organic though, because the fans are actually accepting it.
Right.
It's not them going.
But still, when you think, okay, he's a cowboy guy drinking beer.
I think Dean Ambrose is more Stone Cold than.
Well, he doesn't drink beer. But I'm just trying to say is you still recognize that this is a Stone Austinism. This is anyway.
Hey man, I'm just trying to do some cowboy shit. All right.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know, man. In terms of comic books nowadays, it's really, I'm like, for me, who's a big Superman fan, I really like other things, but I can't. It's too much. You see the different universes. And they're talking about they're not going to bring back Henry Cavill, or talking about they're going to erase the Man of Steel canon, which I think is dumb because it isn't the whole thing of doing the Infinite Earths. Just make that an Infinite Earth and then just move on with a new story. Don't erase it. That doesn't make any sense.
Oh, speaking of Infinite Earths, have you seen that the Brandon Routh video?
No, I didn't.
Oh, dude, it's nice.
Yeah? Okay, send it to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw it on Twitter's.
Oh, okay.
But no, it's just him taking a photograph with taking pictures with his son, but his son's dressed up as Spider-Man, and he's dressed as Kingdom Come Superman, on the set. And,
nice.
They're telling us, pull your mask down a little bit so we can see your eyes, and he's doing the Superman hands on the hips, chest out, shoulder, and his son's oh no, put your hand up. He's I'm fine. He's yeah. So his son's doing the Spider-Man web shooters while he's doing that. It's just it's just a nice wholesome little 10-second video or whatever. You just go.
Yeah. See, but
okay. Nice.
So so as people who are comic book connoisseurs, it's Marvel and DC together, but in their moment, we just love comic books. It's and I think being, not on a particular team, I think that makes it much more accepting and more wholesome, as you say, because you just like characters and you just like, superheroes, and it's just, I don't know. I just don't feel that way right now.
I love Spider-Man. He's the lovable loser,
Mm-hmm.
He's a good guy. He'll always do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Great power, great responsibility, all that stuff. But it doesn't feel like Spider-Man no more.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Superman. A lot of this shit does not feel like the heroes I've grown up knowing and loving, and the books are boring. They're just they're a lot of them are just a chore to read.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's no big secret my fucking favorite character in comics is Dick Grayson.
Mm-hmm.
Whether he's Robin, Nightwing, Batman, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I love him.
Mm-hmm.
And what was it, last over a year ago or whatever, they lobotomized the goddamn guy.
Mm-hmm.
Got shot in the head, and I had to wait a year for them to explain what the hell is happening to him.
Okay.
That's way too fucking long for any story.
So what happened?
This goes into the Court of Owls, like they sent somebody to try to reprogram him while he's brain damaged and replace his personality with Rick Grayson instead of Dick Grayson. And
who's Rick Grayson? Okay.
Who, that's who he wanted to be called now, as Rick. He wasn't Dick Grayson no more.
Okay.
So, like he rejects Bruce, rejects Batman, all that stuff, and then his ancestral grandfather comes back because he's damn near immortal because of the Court of Owls.
Okay.
And recruits him using fucking some of the mind control techniques that his doctor put into him, because she's a member of the court also.
Okay.
But then he breaks the programming, and now both sides, the memory she implanted him and his actual memories, are fighting for control.
So is Moon Knight?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. And now the Joker got his memory crystal.
Okay. All right.
So I'm just like, it took me a year to get this, for them to actually make sense of this bullshit. Mm-hmm. And now it's been almost another year. But now they're going on hiatus for I don't know how long. And I'm just like, if this is how fucking Nightwing goes out, I'm going to be pissed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For sure convoluted.
Yeah.
I can't follow that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's hope maybe this break from things will make people smarter.
And Superman is not the historic Superman anymore.
He's what now?
The historic Superman's father.
Huh?
Yeah.
What?
So in Legion, the new Legion of Superheroes, written by Brian Michael Bendis. I like that.
We know how you love him.
Yeah. They said that his father is Superman, but he's not the historic Superman. The one that did all the great deeds, and the one that really goes down in the memory. Okay. The one that inspires all the heroes.
Okay.
That's Jonathan Kent.
Okay.
Superman's son.
So Kal-El's son is the actual Superman
that gets remembered.
Okay.
In history, not him, not Kal-El.
Okay. Just for the hell of it, or
yeah, pretty much.
My head hurts. Okay.
Kind of like how they made Lightning Lad the scariest thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
A black ginger.
Oh my god. Okay.
Don't judge me.
It's
natural. Like the one dude that plays for the fucking Clippers or played for the Clippers are scary. I don't care what you tell me. All right.
Okay.
It's unnatural.
You never know. It's the coronavirus will mix our gene pool and it'll be great.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so are you done with this topic? Because I like to move on to something.
Let's move on.
Okay, all right.
Because the comic industry's got me too damn depressed now.
Yeah, it looks like you're upset. Yeah, I know. And so, yes, the comic books.
And losing my comic shop has really got me upset.
Yeah.
And my mom was making jokes about it, too, already. And I'm like, too soon, Devil Woman.
Oh, wow.
And mind you, when I say Devil Woman, I do call my mom Devil Woman. Mm-hmm. Anybody can attest to that.
Right.
But it's a term of endearment and love.
Yeah, but she is the devil.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
She stabbed me at breakfast.
Yes, she did. All right, so, and I love to talk about this. We just watched the second part of the Chris Benoit Dark Side of the Ring.
Well, we didn't even talk about that last week.
Did we not? Oh,
no, we didn't.
That's right, because I think I just sent you that. Yeah, I think I just watched it that night.
You sent it to me on Friday.
Was it Sunday? Okay. Okay. So, yeah, part 1 was basically kind of like a background.
We need to set it up for...
Yeah.
So, Dark Side of the Ring is a wrestling docuseries on Vice. Mm-hmm. They have some of them up on YouTube. Some you can find in other places. It's not hard to find.
Yeah.
Look at Dark Side of the Ring. They had a wonderful first season where they talked about the Von Erichs, Gino Hernandez, the
Bruiser Brody,
the Montreal Screwjob, and I think a couple others.
Macho Man and Elizabeth.
Macho Man and Miss Elizabeth. That one's a great one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I've actually been listening to a few. I actually listened to a few podcasts with the creators on there. And
did you listen to the Talk is Jericho one?
Yes, I did. And then there was some other ones where the Mike Johnson from PW Insider interviewed them a couple times too. So great series because it's very classy. They even actually get indie wrestlers to portray them in the kind of like the
gear, their style,
imaginary vignette and stuff like that. And the storytelling is really awesome. I mean, if you were to sit down with a veteran and you just have them just talk about road stories, I mean, that's how it was. But by adding all the visuals and all the music and everything, it just pumps it up like 100%, like 100 times.
Well, actually, you can't even really sit down with a veteran because they'll still, even if you're a worker, they'll still try to work you. So to get an honest recant on anything is always hard.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're being so candid and honest with a lot of this stuff, as far as we can tell,
that'd be a little questionable.
Yeah, it's actually really nice.
Yeah. So, but no, the Von Erichs ones was really awesome. I really appreciated the one about Bruiser Brody.
Bruiser Brody one was great.
Yeah, that was their first episode. They said that was the first one they made, and they kind of used that as to kind of advertise around because they were saying that Vice, they said it was really hard to sell them, and then finally when they debuted the first 1 or 2 episodes, they said, "Wow, we're getting a lot of good response to this. Okay, go." And they had 2 weeks to put everything together and have that first season. So, coming in the second season hot, they decided to do the Chris Benoit story. And pretty much for me, Chris Benoit was my absolute favorite wrestler. And my favorite Japanese wrestler is Misawa. So this one was, it's really personal to me because the thing was, man, when you're a hero and all that stuff like that. And so when doesn't know the story, Chris Benoit just basically snapped and killed his family. And Nancy, who was woman, and his young son. So it was really hard for me, and that actually kind of took me out of wrestling. It was just one thing at a time. So when that happened, and I was married at the time, and it was just, or no, I wasn't married. Was I?
You were
no. We were already done.
It was a little.
Well, anyways,
it just ended.
Yeah. So, this was kind of hard to watch, especially the second one. The first part talked about the history of Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit's really strong friendship and with Dean Malenko and Chavo Guerrero and all that stuff, and they talked about how when Eddie died, that's when Chris Benoit died, and it didn't help that all the concussions and all the drugs and all the drinking and stuff just didn't help the situation, and so
you know what? And I give kudos for Jericho.
Oh yeah,
for just saying hey, we're all adults here, all right? Mm-hmm. This shit was going on. It's not.
Yeah.
It wasn't fucking
he even said himself, "Look, I'm not even going to hold a torch for the guy. It's like the guy did something completely horrible, and I'm only going to talk about the things I really knew about him. When he was, you could say, in his right mind. But I think what it was that made this way better than any of the media could shed light on, or anything that WWE refuses to talk about or whatever. And having Jim Ross in that too was awesome, in the sense of, understanding what happens in the story, because I mean, he was, the figure of corporate, and so like, oh, now they're just sending Jim over just as a formality rather than, for someone who really cares about him.
Yeah, for a woman and her son and their son's funeral.
Yeah, and no, I think it was Chris's too, wasn't it? No, he didn't show. Okay, so so essentially for that second episode, I mean, they had the investigators, just
telling you the timeline,
and they actually showed pictures. Very, I don't want to say tasteful pictures, but just
those
pictures.
crime scene pictures were like when they went to commercial. Like, I had to catch my breath. I was like,
it was.
This shit is way more intense than I was expecting.
Yeah, I was having, some intense, just reliving it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And seeing the seeing the weight machine, and then saying what the cops were saying, because when they saw, his body just hanging, they thought he was like, alive, and so he, they was like, don't move or whatever. And I'm like, oh my god, that was raw. You know what I mean? So we all know how it ends. I mean, we all know how just how horrible that thing was. But what I have to do is give credit to David Benoit, Chris Benoit's first son, and Sandra Toffolino, woman's sister. So this is what really upsets me about WWE and Vince McMahon. Okay. They were just not supportive. They said themselves, did anyone come to talk to you about this? No.
Only one was Chris Benoit and Chavo Guerrero.
No, not, Chris Jericho.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And that, I'm like, dude, how fucked up is that? You know what I mean? And this is why, one of the main reasons why I do not like WWE and Vince McMahon, because like it's like shit like that. Oh, it's really bad for our image. Like, okay, well, you can still send support or something without having it televised or publicized or anything. No. I'm like, really?
Vince should have been there,
dude. And as Chris had said, this is Chris Jericho had said that Chris Benoit had only had one job in his entire life, was wrestling, and he loved the business so much, but he almost took it down with him. And if you translate that, in Vince McMahon's mind is like, oh, he tried to destroy us. Like, he didn't try to do shit. I mean, he loved the business. He gave his life for you, and
he smashed his brains into mush.
Yeah, and he was
for
sick.
You, and you wouldn't let him get off the road.
Yeah,
would not let him get off the road. Could not see how much pain he was in.
Yeah.
This is really a story of two wrestlers, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie and Chris.
Yeah.
One's going to be fucking the eternal angel, and the other one's going to be the eternal devil, dude.
Yeah.
And it sucks because they were best friends, and this freaking, when Eddie went down, Chris should have been taken off the road.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that's how it was back then. Put on the brave face.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking don't let the boys, don't show weakness in front of the boys, and get out there.
Yeah, I'm going to lose my spot and all that stuff. I hate that. And I remember watching that SmackDown when they were interviewing all the people, and when they got to Chris Benoit, and man, dude, he was like just like destroyed, crumbling right in front of our eyes, and we were filming the man, and
they fucking aired it.
Yeah, and they aired it, and so and then I remember when me and my ex-wife were actually watching that, we were like sobbing watching this poor man, just like, and if they thought that was going to help with his healing, I don't know, man. I mean, it was uncomfortable.
No, man, he needed to be away from the business. He needed to be like in therapy.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if, that amount of therapy or whatever, but I mean,
needed to get off the junk.
Yeah. I mean, and what they were saying is that, after Eddie's funeral and stuff like that, Nancy and Chris would go over to check on Eddie Guerrero's wife, Vicky, and like Chris Benoit would cry on his side of the bed of Eddie's bed. I'm like, dude, that is some really bad like red flags there, man. I mean, and you're in this business for entertainment. You know what I mean? And you're trying to keep up this fake persona, you know, and I want to slap myself for saying fake, but in this case, dude, life is way more important. But, you know, I think by that time, whenever you are in that type of state, you know, and you cannot continue work, or it's going to affect your work, or people can visibly see you are not yourself, stop. You know what I mean? Ah, man. So, I had those feelings came up to me, like just the anger of just how that was treated, and these poor people who were related by, you know, law, by marriage and stuff, weren't able to see each other because they don't want to see each other.
Yeah.
And who the fuck said that?
Yeah. And I just want to get something out of the way right now.
Yeah.
Because, you know, during a lot of this shit, I get a lot of texts from Virgil going, fuck Vince.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And part of me, like, always takes it a little bit personal. Mm-hmm. He's like, no, McMahon. He always has to separate.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, good. Like, because let's face it, I get cussed out by my friends a lot. I know they love me. But even then, you can't be too careful sometimes.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about.
I know, but that doesn't mean it doesn't go like, oh, fuck Vince. Like, wait, what did I do? Because let's face it, we all talk about shit me a lot, myself included. But every once in a while, I do need the distinction. Because I do and say a lot of fucked up shit. So I don't know for what I'm getting cussed out this time.
Right. So anyway, yeah. So that was something that I felt needed to be done because they were made by his real friends and real family and people who are actually involved with it. Because you try to take anything from some Yahoo who wasn't close to Benoit or Eddie, and, you know, they're trying to, you know, make money off of it, capitalize on it, saying, oh, it's all about steroids and stuff like that. No, dude, this is something way more intense than
and I think
steroids.
It was a great thing that they had Christopher Nowinski, who was a former pro wrestler and does have his doctorate from Harvard, and that was his whole gimmick.
Yep.
But you know, talk about CTE and concussions and all that stuff, and you actually have Jericho and Chavo talking about chair shots back in the day. How hell, we all.
Oh, dude, they showed footage. I was like, oh, god damn!
Yeah,
like they put their hands down.
Yeah, you took it on the head. You just grit your teeth, stiffen your neck, and you take it. Hell, we've done that. So every time I knew a chair shot was coming, I didn't fucking protect myself. Well, I protected myself when I did. Every time I've really gotten hit with the chair, I didn't know it was coming, and it was always from the back, so I get hit in the back of my head.
Who did that?
Rapata. Rapata, I think Chris.
Really?
And maybe Tommy Wilson and someone else.
Because you're big, they can do that to you. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
All right. Not cool. Anyway.
Yeah. No, because, like, you know, we'd be setting up then, but, like, the match would get ramped up, and the next thing you know, boom! Like, oh, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, I've had lights out from a Shining Wizard from Amazing Web.
Really?
Yeah. I was in a match with him. I forget if it was a tag match or what, but I took the Shining Wizard. He freaking hit me square in the temple. And I couldn't see for a little bit. And the referee was Steve at the time. Vance Lamborghini.
Yeah. Was this AWA?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, Steve, I need you to help me to the back. He's like, I can't carry you, Vince. I was like, dude, I don't need you to carry me. I can't see, dude. I need you to fucking guide me to the back.
Wow. Oh, shit.
So yeah, it was like I put my hand on his shoulder like I did Matteo Nati. He's like, just let me know when we get through the door.
Wow.
Yeah, it took a minute for everything to kind of come back into focus.
Yeah.
And then I had a concussion that night because we went to dinner afterwards, and then I ended up throwing up. And
yeah, that's a concussion.
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, okay. Well, you're good now. Hopefully.
Who knows?
Okay. Okay. Well, let's.
But you know, we finished the match, brother.
Yeah. Listen, you guys. Okay. Those of you, if you even listen or whatever, I mean, or just our friends who are listening to this, okay? No match is worth your fucking life, okay? All right? I mean, it may seem like it because all these people staring at you and whatever, but you don't have to work strong, okay? You don't have to fuck each other up, and you don't have to do that, okay? There's people who know their craft well, and they can finish the match in a classy way, or just, always have that, emergency exit out there, okay? You don't have to fuck each other up. It's just, Anyway, there's a lot of unnecessary, injuries and handicaps and deaths that don't need to happen because of wrestling. Okay, so anyway, all right. Well, we need to wrap this up because I'm not I'm not in a good place.
Well, whose fault is that?
I don't know.
All right. Well, you know what, dude? That's too much of a serious topic for our usual jargon. Just
yeah,
be good to one another, take care of one another, and things are always more complex than what anybody tells you. So if you can try to find the real story, please do.
Yeah.
You don't have to make somebody a hero, but I don't think almost anybody's a complete devil in a situation.
Mm-hmm.
There are some. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely some situations out there.
Oh yeah.
But you know what I'm trying to say. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by. I'll get the check.